What can one drop of blood say about your health? Apparently a lot. Joining me today is Katie Palmer, who's here to describe what a nutritional blood analysis is and how it can benefit your health. Thanks for being here today, Katie.
Thanks for having me here, Brian.
So tell me, how did you get into this?
Wow. Well, my journey with natural health really started when I was younger because I had family members that were sick often, and we went to doctor after doctor after doctor, didn't find any results. So that started getting me questioning what else is available. So I started out as an herbalist. That's where I studied first. And then from there, I still wanted to know more. I loved that I could use these herbs to help with symptoms, but I wanted to know why people were getting the symptoms to begin with.
Where did it all start?
Exactly. Where did it all start? So that's what got me into live cell microscopy, or we'll say nutritional blood analysis because that's easier.
Easier word to say.
Exactly. So I studied that for a while, and I also do functional diagnostic nutrition, and I just put all that together when I work with the client.
So you intertwine both those things. I love that. That's great. So tell everybody, describe what is a nutritional blood analysis.
Well, a nutritional blood analysis is a blood screening where you look at a drop of blood under a microscope, and you actually are looking at it while it is still alive. It's a lot different than a test you would have done at your doctor's office, because when you are tested through the lab, they're going to stain the blood and dry the blood, and it's going to be in an altered state, which is important and necessary for that test. But this is a completely different approach. And so when I'm looking at the blood, I'm looking for abnormalities and morphologies between the red blood cells. We look at the white blood cells, platelets, the plasma, and I'm looking at a lot of microbe activity as well. So all of these things can point to some underlying imbalances and deficiencies.
And you can see all of this with just one drop of blood?
Right, one drop of blood. And I think it is important to note that the blood analysis is not a diagnostic tool. So this is a tool that you can use to understand how your lifestyle and how your diet is affecting your health. And then you get great pointers to know how you can change those or alter those so that you can start obtaining optimal health. So it's really excellent when we're dealing with healthcare from a preventative measure.
That's right, exactly. So what is the process? If I want to do this test, what do I need to do?
You will want to fast for a few hours. If there's blood sugar issues, we kind of work with that. Of course, if you need to eat, go ahead and eat. But if you can, come fasting and come hydrated. That's really important. But it's just a 30-minute analysis, and then you actually get all your results and your recommendations within that 30 minutes.
So what experiences have you actually had with this? Share some of the case studies in your past.
Sure, yeah. So let me tell you about one girl that I worked with, or one lady that I worked with. When she came to me, she was complaining of headaches, dizziness, a lot of bloating, fatigue. Everybody has fatigue, I think. But she came to me, and the first thing that I noticed in her blood was fermentation. And fermentation appears as these white bubbles, like puffy little bubble-looking things in the blood. And this is connected to yeast or fungus or a dysbiosis of the gut. Now, it is not yeast, so what we're looking at is not actual yeast in the blood, because yeast and fungus can't survive in the pH of the blood. But it's a different type of microbe that has been connected with yeast and fungus. And there have actually been some antibody studies that show a connection with the overgrowth of candida.
Very interesting, very interesting. What else can you see with that one drop of blood? What else is available to see there?
Well, one of my clients that came in, he actually was dealing with a rash all over his body. And what I noticed with him, we saw fibrin in the blood. And fibrin, what it looks like is these small, almost hair-like structures in the blood.
Threads.
And like threads, exactly. And they form, like they interlace and form a net, or they can. And this is protein that it develops when there's an injury, and it helps us to heal a wound. So it's important, but a lot of times we get an overgrowth of fibrin for different reasons, if we're lacking enzymes or if there's liver stress. And then over time, this fibrin can harden and it can thicken as well, and that causes a lot of issues down the road. So for instance, one thing that can be connected is cardiovascular disease or stroke, because if you think of these webs of fibrin throughout the blood cells aren't able to move through it, so we have a lot of circulatory issues with that.
That is just so cool, all the information you can see just from one drop of blood.
It's pretty exciting.
Well, is there anything else that someone should know about this test before they come in to do it?
Yeah, you know, I think, again, this is a great preventative test. I do recommend when people come in, like we talked about, that they're fasting, but they are hydrated. But I like to spend some time to get to know the client as well. So don't feel afraid to tell me what's going on, because I want to be able to correlate your symptoms with what we're seeing so you can actually understand why this is important to your health. And also, if somebody is on supplementation or on supplements or on medication, bring that information in as well, and that way we can go over all of that as in correlation with everything else.
So once you identify different things in the blood, what are you doing with them from there on?
Yeah, so let's talk about that first lady that came in. I did a protocol for her for diet, and we did some supplements as well. The fermentation, again, like I was saying, it's a type of microbe. So we wanted to do a detox for this microbe. And when I do a detox like that, there's a few different steps that I think are important as far as the supplements. So microbes, whatever it is, yeast, bacteria, even parasites, they have this protective film around them, this biofilm. So one of the things we're gonna want to do is actually break down that biofilm to make the pathogens vulnerable. And then we go in with herbs, and there's a lot of different herbs that are excellent, things like oregano oil, olive leaf, you know, it kind of varies depending on what we're dealing with. So we actually want to be able to kill off what's there. And then lastly, a lot of times we'll use a binder. And a binder would be something like charcoal or clay that attracts all these toxins that we're killing off. Exactly, and it takes it out of the body.
That's just amazing, just one drop of blood.
Right, and it's so exciting to see the results. For instance, when this lady came back, when she first came to me, there were 3 things that she was complaining of. I think it was fatigue, headaches, and leg cramps. And then she came back and she listed all of these different things that she wasn't dealing with anymore. So she was also saying, my bloating's gone, you know, this is gone, this is gone. She's like, I didn't even know that they were an issue. I didn't realize that I felt bad for so long.
A lot of people don't.
Exactly.
That's right.
And so she was really excited. And we just worked with her, I think it was 2 or 3 months when she came back, and she was already noticing those differences.
Wow, that's just amazing, Katie. Thanks so much for
you.
being here today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been so wonderful partnering with the Sunflower Shop over these last few years.
Thank you. Well, to find out more information about nutritional blood analysis or to book an appointment with Katie, just go to our website at sunflowershop.com, that's shop with 2 P's and an E, or visit us at one of our 3 locations.